Hey everyone, I'm Brenton, and welcome to Brenton's Question of the Week. Questions that collectors think about but don't always ask. So last week's question was, what kind of statues do you prefer, museum or action? So here are some of the responses from the community. Knight said, I never really thought about it. I go after the characters I like. Some standing there in a museum pose speak as loud as a piece in an action pose. So thank you for the great responses. And this week I've been thinking about, do you prefer collectibles to have an ES or not? So this seems to be a huge thing within multiple collecting communities that causes a lot of anger or frustration among collectors. Now, why that motivates that response, I'm not really sure, but I'm not going to speak on that so much as, do you want an ES? Do you not want an ES? Do you think it would just make people happier collecting if we did away with the ES? Then when stuff like reissues happen, why get angry? There's no reason to get angry about that other people are getting a chance to collect something that they may have missed because it came out when they weren't collecting. And, does it matter for the ES necessarily? Because then people complain about the ES is too high, the ES is too low, how ES affects price. Everything seems like so hyped up on ES. Does it really matter? If it didn't have an ES, would you stop buying? Would you stop collecting? There's plenty of things that don't have ESs that people love to collect and still can increase in value. Comic books don't have an ES. You look at like Marvel Legends or any other small scale action figures, they don't have ES, but they do rise in price or in value at times. Let's see, steel books don't have an ES, but if you miss out on the initial release of that, odds are you're going to end up paying more than what the initial retail price was. And then you look at things that do have an ES, like art prints or statues. And, that stuff doesn't always hold their value, even though there's an ES attached to it, that if you go to sell, you may lose some money or sell for less than what you ended up paying, especially when shipping costs are so high. And you, as the first buyer, as a new product, you take more of the brunt of that shipping because it's probably going to be higher than when you actually sell that item to someone else. So it's already within the States or something, or it's even a local pickup and there is no shipping cost. So that cost is something that the initial person really takes that burden on, and then it isn't necessarily passed on to a future buyer. So thank you everyone for watching. Please feel free to answer in the comments and come back next week to hear what other collectors had to say and for another